the only, it's Black Knight.
Yep. And sorry about the little delay we had. We this stream key issue.
Potentially, it just wasn't showing up that I was streaming, which was a little bit odd. But regardless, we're here to talk balance.
And it's still saying you're offline. I'm getting messages saying you're still. Oh, there it is.
Got him. Oh,
yes.
buddy, delay for the win. Looking.
Yes, we finally got it.
So, Matthias.
I sent a message to him. So
rock on. Cool.
Yeah.
We're finally we're here. We're ready. All right.
Yeah.
So we're here to discuss balance. We're here to discuss exactly what's going to be happening. Moving on forward with all these changes, it's going to be pretty nuts because there were some pretty bold changes that were definitely suggested by David Kim and his team, and we're here to look at them. So, Black Knight, I know you're really liking it so far.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the cyclone.
Okay. Since we did tie to, we actually talked about this a little bit earlier last Sunday. Whenever we had some downtime. So the Cyclone, it's going to be a complete overhaul of its current self. Originally, it had the lock-on ability and it had all these little, cute little abilities. Now it's actually removed. The ground cast has been removed, and instead it's going to be a damage change. It's going to be +3 armored damage over a period of 0.7 seconds. Now, think of that as a stim. Now, you can pretty much compare it to a stim marine. That's pretty fast. And its ranges from 5 to 6. And the upgrade change, weapon upgrade amount change, has been decreased from 2 to 1 to account for the new value. It has no anti-air, even though it does still have the lock-on. The movement speed has been decreased from 4.72 to 4.13. Very nothing noticeable. Like I said, Lockout can only target air units, range is unchanged, and it now deals 160 damage over 14 seconds. They removed the auto cast. Supply cost decreased from 4 to 3. And they buffed its health by 40 points, so it's from 120 to 180. And the biggest one that out of this, besides the damage change, was that it no longer requires a tech lab. It means you can reactor these things out pretty fast.
Yeah, that's actually, I want to quickly mention something that is super nice. Black Knight and I took some time before this, and we played a bit of each race. We played around with the balance, and finished this up, and we can get talking a little bit about that, and then we can get into the siege tank. And, first we should discuss some cycle stuff. Anywho, finish it up.
Yeah. But overall, the change actually looks pretty good. Despite the fact that you can reactor them out now, makes it where you can have a whole lot of these out on the field instead of just having 1 or 2 like we previously seen. You could start adding them to core army composition. I mean, these are really, really good cyclones that is a whole lot better. And I actually quit the game because a lot of the Terran stuff that we have currently wasn't really doing anything. The Cyclone, in its current form, not the updated one, but was just a joke. It sucks. The siege tank, we'll get to that here in a second. But the new Cyclone is really going to be helpful, and it's really going to make a big impact. So as far as the adept playing the cute things like that for Protoss, I don't necessarily know. It's also, and the reason why I bring this up is because it's actually going to allow me as a creative Terran player. It's going to allow me some more forethought how I want to play, because I can do a lot more factory expanse, which is a little bit more safer, and I can have these out by the time an adept bus decides to, to show up on my doorstep. So it really depends on what you're wanting to do, but this is really going to be a good bread and butter unit for the mech composition.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing I do want to talk about. There was already some discussion on my team about specifically Blue Flame Hellion Cyclone pushes. Just some absolutely silly anti-ground, just frontal assault, and I think it's definitely going to be a big thing going forward, especially with medevac play. 2 Cyclones, 2 medevacs, for you who do not know, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Now,
I want to see some Blue Flame. I want to see some Blue Flame Hellbat Cyclones, man. I think that'd be a lot. That's gonna be a little bit stronger.
Oh yeah, that's just gonna be a little bit later game. But real quick, let's see. Your really low T that. Wait, what? Low level Terran that never played Terran. That new Cyclone is actually something that can make you try mech. Yeah, I mean mech. Blackknight here, big mech player, and it's bringing them back in the game. This is gonna be.
Dude, like you will not believe, like versus Protoss. I'm struggling versus Protoss actually. I quit because it's just like constantly just everything I tried, it just didn't work. And again, this is really going to be a change that is going to be welcomed.
Oh, mech you. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that said, you've gone through. You've played the Cyclone in the test map.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Dude, like it was like angels singing.
Angels singing. All right, guys.
Yes, it's like you have that versus Zerg versus Protoss. It's like versus Zerg, Roach Ravager melt to that so easy. It's just hell, even spine crawlers, spore crawlers, anything. I mean, just watching these maxed out, upgraded Cyclones just picking away at spine, spores, Ravagers, Roaches, anything armored. Hell, even Ultralisk melt to these things. That wasn't fully upgraded though, but they just melt. Everything melted. It was so good, and it felt so rewarding.
So the question then becomes. Yes, Cyclone improvements seem to be going pretty well, because I played it as well. I had a lot of fun. I think I screwed up my build, and I know I screwed it up. That's not the point. It was just to have fun, and the Cyclones are definitely a fun unit. They can really do a lot of damage, but not to things like Adepts. Workers even, they're not made for that. So
No. They're not made for work.
The question becomes... will they be seen a lot more? Because the issue that we had beforehand was, yes, they can melt ultras in their own way. They can really do a lot of damage to ultras. However, those ultras are typically accompanied by lings, and so those lings getting in the way.
Yeah,
we're going to have the same problems that we've been having.
Well, actually, I mean, you're forgetting that the Cyclones are not going to be. You're going to be accompanied by other units like Blue Flame Hellbats, Siege Tanks, maybe Vikings or Battlecruiser. I'll get to the Battlecruiser change that later. I mean, that's one of my favorite ones, I think, out of all these. But you're going to have different. We're going to have some really interesting play styles coming out of this. We're going to see how Cyclones a whole lot more. I mean, again, this is going to be a bread and butter unit. This is going to be the one thing besides Hellions and Siege Tanks going to be right in there with it.
Yeah.
As far as having Thors, though, as far as Thor's backing this, I'm not entirely too sure. I mean, against Tempest, you could first Protoss having Tempest, you probably could get away with it because it's the range has been changed, but we'll get to that.
We're getting a little off topic here. Now, something else to keep in mind is, you and I are both Terran players. The question becomes, do we feel like the Cyclone might be a little bit too overpowered, might be too that one-man army type of deal?
No, air units are gonna, air units are going to counter.
Of course, everything is going to have its own counter, but if used consistently enough, you're saying that it's melting roaches and Ravagers, right? So
it's doing.
That's a primary build for Zerg. Especially with Bling Bling Muta, that's one that'll completely counter. So we could potentially see a bit more of that, but.
Like I said, if you want me to share screen with you, I can, so you can see what I'm seeing. That way, I don't know if your viewers want to see the changes or not.
Oh, that I've been linking
Okay,
it
yeah. Okay, yeah.
in chat, and so right now, let's see. I guess let's just throw that in for those of you who have missed it. I hear some of the thingamabobbers. Oh yeah, I'm being sent the Avilo go over of this, and it's interesting. Avilo also has some really interesting things to say about this.
Oh yeah, dude, I was watching his video, and you know, giving credit where credit's due. The guy's a good mech player versus anything, but the problem is when it came to Tempest, it he kind of lost his marbles there. I mean, like he literally just like flipped out because it's like finally they replaced and they get rid of the 15 range ground, but they're adding some other changes to it, and it's kind of, you know, but I have to agree, it's kind of dumb with what they did. So,
okay, so that said, there's the question: do you think that we can see some kind of hybrid mechish opening? So Hellion Cyclone into Bio. What do you think?
oh god, that's a good question.
Okay. Well, do you mind? You can wait and think about it a little bit.
Yeah, you take the answer because you're more of a bioterran, so you kind of got the answers right out. More, I have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So right here, theoretically, yes, you can absolutely see that, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of players that are going to be playing this just to see if they can make it work. That said, fun fact. We don't have a plan. Okay, so with the you're going to be wanting to probably end up doing a 1-1-1 with Reaper obviously going up forward, then probably Reactor immediately on your barracks, flip the factory onto the barracks, or flip those two, continue to produce a little bit of bio, I suppose, and then you can do your Cyclones and your Hellions. And I think that might be a way to do it and go into more of a normal style, more of a normal build. But with those Cyclones and with that Reactor consistently popping things out like that, in which case, I mean, then you're also going to have, obviously, Starport for support. But I definitely think it's viable and doable. We'll just see in the upcoming map balance because, I mean, at this point, who knows? I know that Bio will not die so easily. We will keep coming back, but I don't think it's going to be a one mech army for Terran. Or, like, mech is not going to be the main answer, just more viable than it was before.
Yeah. And to answer the question, I'm actually going to have to disagree a little bit here. Because you're investing so much into Hellions and Cyclones, and not only that, but with the stronger siege tank that we'll talk about here in a second, I highly doubt, and plus not only that, but the Marauder got a nerf in beta, so it doesn't have the damage that it once had anyway. So yeah. I would sit there and say that they may lean toward more tank, more mech play, because again, Marauder got nerfed, and by the way, the tank vac is finally like done for. It's gone. Like there is no more of it. So again, so I really don't think there's going to be a bio transition. I think a lot of people are going to probably go mech more because of that reason. And it's going to be a welcoming change for once. And I'm really, and I have nothing against bio players, but just watching the same games from like, early beta to now, it was kind of like the same thing from, Bio Liberator. And me and Arthesius casted a Terran. I can't remember his name, but he played Jon Snow. Jon Snow just like 3-0 wrecked him so bad. It was just almost sad to watch, and I'm really looking forward to see how people are going to what strategies you're going to use. So no, I don't think we're gonna see a hybrid mechish opening, because if you're gonna go mech, it's like the old saying says, you either you go buy or you go mech. You can't really do in between because of upgrades and different tech. So no, I don't think so.
Okay, that's fair. So we can agree to disagree at this point. And at this point, a lot of this is speculation going forward, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to be one big thing, is that not all of this is set in concrete. These are just test maps. So some abilities will be taken back. Some of them will be kept. Like, I mean, as you were mentioning about the tank fact, that's not 100% that that's going to be taken away yet. I mean, same with a lot of these other changes, like, I don't know, the DT blink. I mean, more than likely that's staying, but regardless, we're going to start moving on to the siege tank.
We'll get to the DT thing, but I just hope that they keep it where you cannot chrono boost the damn Dark Shrine. That's all I can say. They better not allow it.
Yeah, that's one thing we will touch on in a little bit, but regardless, though, siege tank, I mean, right now... Siege tank is the damage just pretty much got doubled. I shouldn't say that. It's slightly increased by 5 points, so 35 to 40, but it got doubled against armored, and that's going to be something that's really, 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 really big, such as, I don't know, Ravagers.
and
what just recently got the armor tag?
Yeah, or Ravagers did.
Oh, okay, so Ravagers did get the armor tag. Yeah, so Ravagers are definitely going to get taken down by the tanks a lot faster.
You want to go ahead and talk on this, or I got the thing pulled up, so I'll do it.
I just gonna finish the siege tank. Anywho, as well with the siege tank is that they can no longer be picked up, and
siege mode.
They can be picked up normally, but when they are siege, they cannot be picked up. Which I think it's interesting that they're going back to that. I know a lot of players are happy with Blackknight being one of them. I'm not too happy with that, but at the same time, for the damage that they are buffing us but with the armored, I think it's a pretty fair trade. Maybe a little bit... no, never mind. I was going to say maybe a little bit more without... base damage, I guess, would be a good way to say that. But definitely, it's pretty okay, in my opinion.
But I'm actually looking forward. I've actually tested this out on Berserk, and tell you what, man, it was like... so rewarding just to see Ravagers melt for once instead of watching them just... I mean, like, you can melt them like the Sky units, and Banshees are really good against them, but, finally able to use siege tanks for once was kind of like the most rewarding thing that has come this way in a very long time. So, like I said, man, this is just like a blessing for a lot of us, because now we can actually play our, we can actually have stronger tanks and actually deal with a lot of these pushes that, will come our way. Immortal Busts or anything else, these tanks are just ready to pounce.
Yeah, that's one thing that I do like is, again, the damage increase. I mean, I haven't been able to play the tank too much. I only managed to get like one game in with each race, but I think it's going to be pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, here's I want to kind of touch on this a little bit. If it does show to be a little too strong, there is one way you can counterbalance that. But again, I don't think Blizzard really or Dave Ken specifically doesn't want to do this, because of how strong Ravagers are with the corrosive bio and the fact that tanks cannot be picked up. If you're really worried about tanks being too strong, you can reintroduce the siege mode upgrade and put everything back to what their predecessor was in Wings of Liberty 3 attack. The 3 second shots and air fire spray every 3 seconds, and then reintroduce siege mode. And that would be one way you can counterbalance it. But again, just Ravagers being too strong, everything else being too strong, it's I don't think he really wants to do that.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So allow the tank effect to still be picked up. However, siege would have to be researched. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. That was like way over the head. In Wings of Liberty, it was basically the siege tank had the research siege mode.
Yeah, it was an upgrade. It was like 100 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if the siege tank in its current form is starting to look a little too strong, reintroduce it back. If it shows that it's too strong. However, because of Ravagers, I don't think Dave Kimmerer wants to do that.
Right, which is why I don't think that that's ever going to be a thing, and I very much disagree with that, but...
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, it's like it's a worst case scenario. If it shows to be too strong, you can. But I agree, we're probably not going to see it reintroduced back, unless Ravagers get like a tech building where the Roach Warren has to morph into a Ravager Warren or something.
Okay. So with that said, though, we are going to continue on. These two actually want to do in tandem, so I mean they go hand in hand, and they're two units that have really needed. Well, I don't agree with the one as much, but it was a good trade-off. My point is, it's the Liberator and Thor. That's what we're going to be talking about in this next few moments. Have you been able to use the new Thor, by the way?
I actually used the new Thor for high impact payload mode. Okay. I haven't used it. I have actually like I said, I just played against some AIs on ladder on the changes because like my controls really wasn't as fluid, so I didn't get to really see any of Muta play. But
yeah, I only went up against Terran, so
yeah. So I mean, it looks fine. I mean, just from the way it looks fine. But again, I'd have to get some Muta players just to see how it looks.
Yeah, I completely agree. So all right, getting into this Liberator, what ended up happening was they removed the plus light damage for the anti-air attack. So now they're not going to do as much towards things like mutas, to say the least. So they're not going to do as much against the mutas. However, the big thing with this, the big trade-off is that the Thor anti-air splash damage for the Javelin missile launchers, the radius just increased. It's only by like 0.1 of an actual space square little unit.
Yeah.
But that little bit definitely is going to be giving it a little bit of a boost, I suppose. I haven't necessarily played it quite yet, so I'm not 100% sure. That's why I was asking if you did. But yeah, I can see them tweaking that a little bit more, maybe increasing the increments, but I mean, I can't speak on the level of that 0.1, 0.2 to be able to give anyone any sort of definite answer. So just try it out, guys. It's really interesting. So that said, there are more additions to the Thor, which not terrible. But the Thor high impact payload mode, the anti-air. Oh yeah, it's my bad. It's to the anti payload mode, which is Thor high impact payload mode. God damn, is that hard to say sometimes.
I just call it hit. I just call it hit mode.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
easy
much.
to say.
Well, the anti-air weapon, the cannons will now be so the anti-air is now going to be prioritized on the Thor. That's going to be a huge deal because, I mean, any sort of error and the Thor's like, oh, okay, got this. And they're going to do their job. So with that increment to the anti-air splash, specifically, I think that's definitely going to be a really good synergy of that unit. What do you think?
I actually think. I think because of the stronger tanks and everything else with the Cyclone. I think this would be a pretty good idea, especially gets like targets like Broodlords, Corruptors, Vipers, what's the other one I'm thinking of here? The new Tempest. This is really going to help a lot because that way it would focus on the more prioritizing stuff, and it would help, especially you get some Ravens behind this, and it'd help. This would be a really good change for a lot of the Mech Terrans that really need a armored something for anti-armor. So this is really going to help us a lot instead of like, oh, we're trying to focus on these carriers and they're attacking, zealots and stuff. That's not prioritizing. Now they're going to prioritize that carrier while the rest of the army is going to take out, the nitpicky, oh, look, I just warped that 50 zealots. Okay, well, those 50 zealots just got wasted.
Okay, so that's fair. Okay, so to the question in chat, is the Liberator the one that used anti-air anyways? Yes, the Liberator has the anti-air kind of burst, I guess, with the splash damage, and then it has the Liberation mode, which is the, one-shot, one-kill type of scenario, so it kind of flip-flop just like the Siege tank typically does. But it seems already no more in the situational scenario past these 5-6 months. Liberators are used everywhere, like every game, pretty much forever, and no matter what you're gonna see some Liberators, unless it's TVT. That is the only matchup I have not seen Liberators, unless they're made by mistake or for harassment only. But Banshees are better.
Yeah.
So
and TVT though, I mean, you can use them to break tank lines, but by that time there's gonna be like a Viking fleet out. So
So that's that. But looks like we get to talk about the Banshee now, though. That's next on the agenda. And as I was saying, Banshees are better, guys. The Banshee upgrade for the Hyperflight rotors just got removed from having, god damn it. The requirement for the Fusion Core, it just got removed. And that's a big thing.
Yeah. I mean,
I like it. So you build a tech lab, you get the speed, GG.
Yeah. Here's my consensus, because I am a heavy Banshee player. I might have to start replaying. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, if all these changes go through, the creativity in my head is going to be going ballistics, because I'm going to be sitting there pulling out unit compositions just left to right, left to right, left to right. Okay, what do I want to make? What do I make? Okay, I want Banshees. Okay, what else do I want? Siege tanks, Thors, Vikings, Hellbats, Cyclones, battle cruisers. Okay, this is really going to help, because now the Banshees can actually keep up with the rest of the units. And if you really wanted to, you can have Banshees being attacking in different places while that your slower army is making its way across the map. And then, as you know, he's about to go to those expansions, you pull him back, join that main army, and then you just just hone in on the attack. This is really going to make a big change. I think the Banshees are going to be used more because of these Hyperflight rotor upgrades. And like I said, man, my mind's going to start creative thinking on a lot of this stuff, how to, include these upgrades into a plan that I want. And
it's pretty fair. All right, so then, since I totally just stole like 4 things in a row, Blackknight, would you like to finish out Terran for us?
Yeah. The Viking change what they're proposing to do was, originally the ground attack was not, had no bonus, but now with it being a +8 mechanical bonus, the Viking can survive a little bit longer versus, things like Stalkers, or, you could drop them on tanks if you want to and kill them a little bit faster. I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I'm actually got a test map ready to roll, and I'm going to probably try it with Terran, just TVT, just to see how it is. But again, the Viking change is more iffy, because while it's good in practice on paper, the problem is it's more of a dedicated anti-air. So you really don't drop them unless it's like Terror vs. Protoss, you got the Colossus kind of thing, oh, well, I got like 20 Vikings, might as well land them and they die anyway. This would be kind of a scenario closer to that.
Right, so something to pretty much make the Viking a little bit more viable once it's pretty much become useless. And
yeah.
I really think it's a good idea on the development side where they want to make late game things more useful again. And so having that like auto attack ground mode, I suppose, on doing +8 to mechanical, I think it's really going to help. 100% to the Protoss side. So it's going to be good in TVT, TVP, and that's it. So and that's really all we see it in, because we'll only see Liberators, Banshees, and Thors in TVZ, since that's a little bit more of a different diversity of a matchup.
Yeah.
But let's get that battlecruiser in. Blackknight.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I have been waiting for this change forever. Just to let y'all guys know, I am an avid battlecruiser user. I actually I fell in love with this unit. Let me give you a little backstory on this. In Heart of Swarm, I had such a big problem with Roach Hydra Viper that it was really it was just beating me left and right. And I played a Master Zerg. I was Platinum at the time. I was on Whirlwind. I can remember this map. And I threw a unit composition together because I'm like, look, let's just try something. And I went Thor, Battlecruiser, like a couple of tanks, and a lot of Vikings that worked. Then I started to experiment more into Skytear, which is really where my playstyle kind of came from, especially from Heart of Swarm to Legacy. And the Battlecruiser was one of the underused units, but it was so strong that people were like, oh, well, Battlecruiser sucks. It costs energy through everything. And I came across a build that was like a triple CC Hellion bust, and then having a +3 armor to attack Battlecruiser by like 15 minutes. And it was messy Zerged up because they can't blind cloud. You can't blind cloud Battlecruisers. You can't blind cloud Banshees or Vikings or Ravens. Mm-hmm. So, with the Battlecruiser being changed again, this is really going to help with no energy. That's the biggest change. The energy bar is completely gone, which is, I think, a very big buff versus Protoss. Mm-hmm. But again, you still got the Tempest with the 15 range against air. Yamato Cannon attack jump are actually the Yamato Cannon still has to be researched, but attack jump is available right out the gate. It each has separate cooldowns. They're both set at 71 seconds, so that's a good thing. And they actually removed the Behemoth reactor upgrade, which was basically the energy upgrade. For those of y'all who didn't play Battlecruiser type styles, that was basically the energy upgrade you got. Your thoughts?
Okay. So my thoughts about the Battlecruiser specifically, I love the fact that they removed the bar. I think that's a really good idea, as you mentioned, the fucking feedback. That was absolutely mind-numbing, and it made the whole unit fucking useless. It was ridiculous. But anywho, so the Yamato Cannon and the tactical jump no longer require energy. That's super awesome. However, the issue becomes now is that Battlecruiser gets right out of that gate. It can just fucking jump across the map and not give a shit, and then just start Yamatoing down whatever it sees, pretty much. And I understand it's a 71-second timer. However, you have 4 Stark ports, 4 tech labs, 4 Battlecruisers getting out, and I understand that this is late game. I completely get that, because if you're building Battlecruisers, you better fucking be ready that this is late game, or else you're gonna die. Because, you just jump over, skip and jump away from the enemy base, and then just start raining down on them. There's been no buff to the attack or the armor, which I think is an interesting move. I want to see how this can be played more. And actually, after this, I'm going to just fucking Battlecruiser rush somebody.
I played with the battle cruiser. It's actually really fun to attack jump right out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly thought it was actually going to be on a cooldown, but then I forgot. Well, they allow it unless it's an energy unit, you have to wait. But with it being out the gate, and not only that, but you're thinking a little bit too small on starports here. If you're a Sky Terran, you usually have about 8 starports.
Right.
So think about 8 battle cruisers popping out at the gate. And then imagine that just like your armies at your armies at the enemy base. They think they got it one, then bam, just 8 battle cruisers just showed up. It's like, shit, are you serious?
Right.
I don't have anti-air.
But therein becomes a big issue is with Sky Terran specifically, it's very easily scouted unless you have tanks or a big bioforce underneath. Because you're going to need something to fend off any sort of scout, any sort of prying, unless you're against Terran, because then they can just fucking scanner sweep you, and you're like, oh, well, there are 8 starports, I better get a boatload of
Vikings.
Vikings and missile turrets, and then the Sky Terran just kind of falls apart from there. That said, I was thinking something small for a less economy intensive thing, because you can easily get off. I shouldn't say easily. You should be able to get one off when you're on 3 bases or something, and just pop out a battle cruiser and toss it across the map.
Yeah, but there is something I want to address though, and I think David Kim can make this a lot better because the battle cruiser is supposed to be a tier 3, feared unit. I think he should allow it to firewall. It should be allowed to fire while on the move. That would be a really big change. That really would help because its DPS is so low, and that really would help. And and I want to kind of bring the Thor back into this because I think I can upgrade like Juggernaut plating. I was actually suggesting this a while back. Mm-hmm. Give as an armory upgrade actually a Juggernaut plating where it gets plus 2 armor to both the Thor and the battle cruiser, so that way Marines can't just insta shoot this, or Phoenixes can't bring it down, or mutas or corruptors. These things are there to be a threat, to be a force to be reckoned with, basically. And every time we see these battle cruisers pop out, they die so fast because their armor really, especially with parasitic bomb, this would actually kind of counteract the parasitic bomb thing. Even though I know a little trick to actually make battle cruisers last longer versus parasitic bomb, it's just more of a it's tactical jump basically. But again, having a armor upgrade for both Thor and battle cruiser really would help. That way, it gives it a more feared unit to be reckoned with, instead of you made battle cruisers. Okay, let me mass 20 Vipers and a whole load of corruptors, and then just laugh at you.
Yeah, and I just totally accidentally moved your video. Whoops, my bad. I totally forgot to give you a name tag. Whoops. Let's see. So, for those of you who don't know, this is Blackknight. Real quick before... Okay, actually, no. Let's finish up the Raven. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then... Can
I talk about some other stuff?
Yeah, we can talk about some other stuff. I know we're going to be getting into Protoss just after this, but I had something in mind, and I think I totally forgot what it was. Okay,
so the Raven, they're actually buffing the auto turret damage, which by the way, I built this for Protoss, and it's very funny. You will never see an auto turret take down a photon cannon so fast. Oh my god! It's like this AI Protoss just made a whole bunch of cannons to this base, and I had 4 Ravens. Again, this is against AI. So, oh yeah, my name's Hitbox. Hey, that'd be a good name. But anyway, I threw down just a line of auto turrets. Man, you never see anything go up in smoke so fast just watching it.
Yeah.
But again, again, David Kim can make this a lot better because of the stalemate cancer hots arrow that we had. And I'm not really too faint to say that I played it because the style that I was using, I was aggressive with my banshee play, but I had ravens and battlecruisers, Vikings to back this. And the one thing he can do was actually not, and again, I don't, my thoughts on the auto turret damage is meh, it's good, but he can make the, he can bring back durable materials. And instead of having the upgrade, because if you get the damage upgrade, which I think is, where is it at? Hotkeys, Terran. Okay, here it is. It is explosive shrapnel shells, which basically increases the damage of the auto turrets and secret missiles by 30%. So it goes from 24 to 29 when fully upgraded. Bring back durable materials as an upgrade, and you can extend that just a little bit longer. So you can still keep these at 24, but increase the time, the duration just a little bit. That way, auto turrets are still good. PDDs get an extensive life. That way, versus Protoss, Tempest, or anything else, it helps turn that tide a little bit in your favor.
Okay. Did you play with the Raven at all?
Yeah. I played it versus Protoss, dude. It was so fun.
I really like it. I played it against Terran, and it is able to take down a tank without too much effort. And I mean, too much effort is in it has a bit more time after it kills the tank to take on whatever is coming at it. But that said, I really, really like how that is going to be. I do like the short duration. I think it's a good idea for more of that throw down, burst, do what you need to. It's very situational, mind you, but I think that the Raven is definitely a bit more useful, but not going to be massed type of useful.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, you can bring it back with just durable materials if you really want to get rid of. If you're afraid of the 29, fully upgraded 29 damage auto turret, get rid of explosive shrapnel shells, and bring out durable materials and increase the duration, just maybe 5 to 10 seconds. That would help.
Right. Okay. So. It's time for Protoss, guys. That's going to be...
But you're going to talk about something else beforehand?
Yeah, I thought I was, and then I forgot what it was, so I just kind of started skipping.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the overall rating of the Terran changes?
Oh, yeah. I guess we could. Anyhow.
You go ahead. You go first with your grade assessment here.
I mean, that's fine. So with that all said, wrapping up the Terran, the Cyclone is looking pretty darn strong. Definitely able to be using it more in early compositions as less of a mothership core and more of an actual Terran unit. Siege Tank, I mean, getting the real change, damage for mobility, like a tank technically should be. Liberator, less damage, but that's for the tank. Wider damage. Banshee getting a little bit faster, which I really like that upgrade. Viking doing the mechanical damage. The battlecruiser is going to be very interesting in how it can be abused. We're going to see a lot of battlecruiser play. And Ravens, the damage increasing, I mean, the increment was pretty good, and I really like it. So overall for Terran, I really like this. I mean, I'm not going to rate it out of 10 if that's what anyone's looking for. I think these changes are really interesting, and they can really shake everything up, and I think that's exactly what David Kim wanted, was for a bit more of a mixture of things and a bit more just figuring exactly what's going on, and not so much of a stale matchup as, I mean, Blackknight's seen, he doesn't like the stale bio, which, I mean, I'll completely agree. It is the same thing over and over and over again, just different ways, and then there's what mine's not the point, that's different play styles. That said, I do overall like these changes. I don't think they're too crazy, except for maybe the battle cruiser. With the insta jump, insta cannon, I think that might need a little bit more reworking. But overall, I think the changes for Terran were really good, and I think it definitely hit where they wanted to go.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna actually do a scale ranking here because I think that it kind of shows where I stand on things. It helps the viewers actually understand. I would give it a 9 out of 10, and the reason why I give it 9 out of 10 is everything as you said. Like, this Cyclone's a whole lot better. The Siege Tank's getting the most justifiably buff that we have been, on our hands and knees begging for. The Thors and the Liberators, it's not really too noticeable. I mean, the Liberator's going to go back to being basically the anti-corruptor kind of unit.
It's really not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's really not, because it doesn't do the damage against armored, and corruptors are armored flying units, and therefore corruptors have been absolutely trashing the Liberators, and therefore the Liberator is just going to be that, like.
But remember, like, if you're having a good, but I say that because, like, unless the Zerg just clumps them up, you're gonna have, the scenario of all that splash hitting those corruptors that's gonna start popping them away, because they do still have the retainer splash. It's just it's more of a really, again, this ain't really noticeable too much on my end because I really don't mess with them. I just make Vikings and Ravens for that. Banshees, yes, I finally would agree with the Hyperflight rotors change. The Viking, yes. The Battlecruiser, can use some extra love and, like, buffing its armor or giving it the ability to move while shoot it while fire while on the move or anything like that. The Raven, same thing. Could use a little extra love and, like, increasing the duration with durable materials. They could bring that back and actually would help a lot more. So a 9 out of 10, like I said.
Okay. So overall, general approval, and I mean, it's not like the Akeem needs our approval. I mean, technically he does, because the community is very, very loud. So
the community can lose its marbles pretty fast on stuff like that.
I mean, we're a pretty small community, but we have some fucking lungs. Holy shit. Yeah. Anywho, okay, so we're wrapping that up. We do have this question.
Yeah. That's gonna get to that.
Yeah. So, do you guys, as Terrans, think that we got better? So, as Terrans, as in most exciting, if not flat out better, end of the stick in this proposed changes? I think so. Yeah, we definitely came out on a pretty solid footing with these notes, and we're more versatile. We're not as
I have to.
I think we were better.
Yeah, I have to agree. With a lot of the changes that they're slating out, this is really going to be a big step for mech players to actually start exploring that tech route once again. So, again, like we'll throw the links up. They actually have a balanced test map out. So, if y'all want to play around with that, go ahead and please do so, and give David Kim your feedback. So yeah, I think we got the better end of the stick this time, and I think as long as it stays that way, then a lot of Terrans should be coming back from the grave.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that said, I just linked the the test map, in the chat. So if you follow that link, it'll bring you to a blank page. It'll say launch application or do nothing. you want to launch that application, because that application is StarCraft. It'll bring you directly to the test map. It's going to be Frost, and you can either play it with random people or AI. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Also, they actually added to where you can create them on just go to the go to the custom games, and you can pick out whatever map you want to play on, like New Gettysburg, King's Stage Out, Galactic, Frozen, Dayston, Apotheoses, and and then you can click Balance Test Mod, and it automatically brings it up to you.
Oh, no shit. Didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I was like, man, where's these things at? And it says, oh, by the way, you can just go to a custom game and just play it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. Okay, switching gears, though, we're getting into Protoss. Now, I didn't get to test 3 of the 4 changes, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'll definitely try to do that a little bit more. I suck as Protoss, so if I'm playing, I'm just going to get demolished. And that's that, but getting into it, guys, first unit, Tempest, that got a bit of a reworking.
I think, can I just drop the hammer here? Can I please just drop the hammer on this? So bad. This is the good change, but they need to get rid of its new ability, Disruption Sphere, and they need to get rid of the 15 range anti-air. They need to bring it back down to maybe, to 9.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go and disagree with that. But let's first get into what actually changed. Well, the increase, the supply count increased from 4 to 6, so it's going to take a bit more oomph to your pool, your fucking supply. God damn it. Anywho, the anti-ground damage got increased from 30 to 35. Sure, so it does as much of a tank as a tank does without any bonuses, anything. And without siege.
Yeah.
Anywho, the anti-air did not change at all. I'm not 100% sure what it used to be honest, or what it was.
The anti-air damage. Alright, well.
Okay, yeah, you bring that up. I'm going to keep talking about it a little bit more, but we're going to keep that in the back of our minds. Going forward, though, the anti-ground weapon for the Tempest. So the Tempest was the really long-range shooty thing that the Protoss had that looked like a giant thing.
Crab. It looked like a giant crab.
Cool. That's one way to put it. But it was a giant flying crab that would shoot giant fucking orbs and snipe things, and it was super annoying. I really, really like the fact that the anti-ground got nerfed because it's supposed to be so... I don't know. It's supposed to be this long range, like, I don't give a shit siege weapon for the Protoss, but it's way too damn powerful, and friggin' Rotterdam has been building the Roddy Tempest for ages, and it's really won a lot of games, and a lot of other players been playing it, and it's so damn long range that most people can't really engage unless you either catch them off guard, get lucky, or just fucking rush in there with 1.5 million Marines and you have the ground.
Okay, its air attack was 30 plus 3, I think, to massive. Oh, wait, no, it's 14. Bonus to 14. So it did a bonus of... its air attack is 30, its ground attack is 30.
Okay.
It had a bonus DPS versus massive air, so it's 14. So that would bring it to
that didn't change.
Yeah.
What
its
happened
ground
was,
attack?
Yeah, the ground attack just went up by 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So now its anti-ground is a little bit more than its anti-air, which I think is really interesting, and they're going to have to explain that in the mechanics of the lore or something, but with that unit doesn't necessarily make sense, and I do definitely understand that. Oh, yeah, okay, silver, yeah, wow. I was really confused when you said Nate was right. Yeah, you do, dude. Please and thank you. Anywho, yeah, Silvertone, he's on my team. He's a cool dude. Well, no,
Yep.
you're not technically on the team, are you? I don't know what the fuck you are, but Silvertone's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Blackknight, you should know him from ESL.
Yeah, I've casted a few games with him, and I've talked to him a few times. And so my biggest beef is I think they can bring down the range of the Tempest Air just down just enough.
But
That
why?
way you can have. Well, because Vikings have the 9 range, and if it's air versus air, they're gonna keep they can keep kiting them back. Basically.
But Tempest. Or fucking, not Tempest.
Oh, wait.
Phoenix.
Yeah, well,
They
Phoenix
already
is
do that job. They do a damn good job at that as well, especially with the maneuverability. So the question is, why would the Tempest need a nerf to the anti-air?
Well, because of it's massive too, so.
Yellow cannon shoots pretty fucking far. I mean, we can't forget about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot you could actually and not have to deal with the energy bar. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay. Silver's unrivaled. My bad. I know you're with our friggin' caster stuff, so I always get confused sometimes. That said, all right. Continuing on though, Tempest, the anti-air got nerfed from range 15 to 6, so now it's within range of missile turrets, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
It gains a new ability, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the big deal. It's called Disruption Sphere. It immediately launches a ball of energy that fires at a ground target. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Well, it damages all of the targets at that location. Buildings, units, everything. Just done. So it's this big fucking sphere that just gets launched and then deals some area damage, which is pretty big. But it deals 450 damage over 32 seconds. So it'll sit there for a few minutes. And with the tanks specifically not being able to be picked up, you're really screwed with that.
Yeah.
It takes a few seconds. 450 damage is a lot. That will take down a battle cruiser.
Yeah, but it deals ground units too.
Right. Well, I mean, only ground units, but that's how much damage it does, and battle cruisers are tanky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But it's not ridiculous versus ground. That's my point. Is that? Oh, because of the new disruption sphere. Okay, I see where you're coming with that. But at the same time, then you might as well just. I guess if it's just an air spellcaster, but
yeah,
that's might as well make it a fucking High Templar in the air then.
Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, it's actually an AOE. It's basically just as a villain like to say they just basically gave the Tempest Ice Storm over in a sense.
Yeah.
It's just longer and it deals a whole lot more damage.
Yeah. The area of effect radius is set to 1.95, so almost 2 units in game. Which is, I mean, it's a pretty okay size little guy. Anywho, it has 13 cast range, so not its full anti-air, but it's still an anti-ground that can shoot from ages away and be able to hit and just decimate mineral lines or tank lines, or it's a giant spellcaster that just really hates the ground.
Yep. And here's the biggest thing. I think they should make it more situational. They should make it do friendly fire damage, so that way, this little thing that they have, like this little picture they have here. They should make it where, Protoss units are affected by it, because most of the time when you use Psystorm, it can be damaged. You can damage your own units with it, so...
Yeah, I mean, shit, if Storm can, then theoretically the Disruption Sphere can. But I don't believe Disruptors can do...
I think they do.
Can they kill their own shit?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh. Okay.
I think.
That's
I'm
all
not,
right.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think you can.
Okay, well, we're going to find this out, but we're also going to move on. The Zealot. The
Yeah.
base unit for the Protoss that's not a worker. The
Hmm.
researching charge now gives Zealots an extra movement speed, how they had in Brood War, not extra like oomph to their running. It's just their movement as they walk across the map. It's goes from 3.85 to 4.13, so a little bit of an increment. Uh, this will
Mm,
be interesting. I,
I tested this out. Really, just no big change to it.
Yeah, it's not crazy, but it is something. It's going to be definitely noticed where they can run a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do like a Brood War S kind of thing, because in SC2 the research charge is basically gave them a charge ability,
Hmm.
but it didn't really buff their movement speed. So with research in charge now, they actually move faster. And in Brood War, you had something similar to this. Um, hold on, I forgot the name of the upgrade. I could probably look it up on Team Liquid real quick. I don't get on there as much as I used to. I'm trying to look up what was the
Hmm.
upgrade called. Uh, Units of buildings, Protoss. Where is that? Citadel of Adun. Leg enhancements. Okay, it increases the zealot's movement speed. That's basically all it was. And I forgot how much it did, how much it boosted it to, but yeah, because that I was making a comparison between the leg enhancements from Brood War to the research charge. So I think that's basically what they're trying to recreate, but I'm not entirely sure.
Whoop! I totally realized that I was muted. That was my bad. Anywho, moving on though. The Zealots they got the boost, but the carriers remove the release interceptor abilities, so they are no longer. They're pretty much autocast with the interceptors. Am I
Yeah,
right?
they
Like
just
I'm 80% sure that's a correct way to put that.
they removed the release interceptor ability because of the really they actually had a more negative impact than what they thought it would. And what I mean is most of the time a Protoss player will sit there, take the carriers, release interceptors, they pull back, interceptors kill everything. They come back, do the same thing. It was basically just a never-ending cycle, basically. And what they decided to do was they removed that, making it more you have to focus on the carrier itself.
Hmm.
But what they did was, because interceptors can be targeted pretty easy depending on what units you're going to use, like Thors, the Splash, or Marines or something. They actually dropped the cost from 25 to 5 minerals, and they auto build for right out the gate. So, uh,
Yeah, that's. I mean, they're a little bit more intercepty. That's it. That's
yeah,
all that really changed with that. Um, so then the big one becomes the DT. That is the big talk of
yes,
the town.
yeah.
I mean,
And I seriously hope that they do not allow the Dark Shrine to be chronoed for the upgrade. I seriously hope they do not allow it. Because if they do, boy, then I would be okay with it, actually.
right?
I mean, I
Okay.
really would.
So let's get to that real quick. Right now, as it stands, you cannot chrono the ability for the Shadow Stride, for the blink ability for the DTs. I'm not sure why you can't chrono it, but you can't,
It might be
and
a
I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's a bug that they're gonna probably fix. But I seriously hope they do not allow the blink ability that the Dark Shrine to be chronoed, because that would seriously you
Blink
know
blink
yeah
DTs at like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
That would fucking scare everybody off the game. Anywho, so the DT can now blink for a short distance. Cooldown about 21 seconds. Creates a visible smoke effect upon being casted, which I think is pretty cool because that at least shows him, hey, he kind of went to that away. That's about it. But it costs 150, 150. Not a terrible cost as Protoss goes. 121 seconds.
This is actually this is the biggest research time I think we have in the game, because David Kim. I was actually watching the video when I was actually in the middle of cleaning my room up, and I said, "Well, I'll take a breather and see what David Kim was bringing about," and it was so funny. Our Artosis was sitting there next to him, and when David Kim mentioned this, he just like. It looked like he was in heaven when he heard about DTs can now blink, and I'm like, if he's smiling like that, that's not a good sign. That means that's something we have to deal with. But what he said was, this is an experimental change. They may not put this in because if it's shown to be too strong, and people keep doing this, they're gonna probably exit out the game. They probably will if it's shown to be too strong.
Right.
But again, on maps like Frost, you really can't really use that. You can't really use that. I mean, like on certain maps like Apotheosis and let me get to some of these other maps here: Dasani Station, Frozen Temple, Galactic Process, King Sejong, New Gettysburg. No, I don't think you'd be able to pull it on that. But the other. What is it here? 2, 4, 5 maps, you can get away with it.
Right, it also depends on if you have a warp prism up, if you have an observer going, or if you're just using a mothership core, and then where you have wiggle room at. So a lot of it depends on those cliffs, those areas, in which case, if a Reaper can get in without a problem, then a DT can get out without a problem. Think about it that way.
Yeah, but again, like Frost, I don't think you really would have to worry about it too much because of, actually, I'm trying to get a better view on this. I don't think there's really a way for there's a little choke right there near your base. Mm-hmm. That little corner for near the entrance. But again, by the time that probably happens, you'll probably have a detection or something of some sort.
That's pretty fair. All right, so that wraps up Protoss. Do we have any extra questions? Anything to discuss afterwards?
It looked like there was a question. There was a question about the disruption spear, but it's very super low DPS. I really don't know how much. I know it's like 450
over 32 seconds. Yeah. So it increments, and it's pretty much like, hey, this is a big radiation thingy, and it's gonna do this much, but it's gonna sit here for fucking 30 years. I'm not sure how much it starts off with on the initial burst. In which case, how quickly it increments up to 450. But I'm sure with some quick math, you could figure that out rather easily. I'm just bad at math. So we're not going to do that on stream. Fun fact.
Storm, actually, you can almost... Well, the problem with the Disruption Spear, and compared it to Psystorm, you can actually dodge. And Psystorm, actually, with mech, you can actually eat quite a few of Psystorms before it becoming a big problem. Because by the time they try to cast Psystorm, siege tanks are going to be able to melt those really just right out the gate. If they try to even get close, they'll get picked off. But the Disruption Sphere is kind of hard to... it's kind of hard to actually kind of get out of that because they are... insta-cast, and that means you would actually have to be keeping an eye out where these tempests are, where you wanting to engage, and how you go about this fight. So again, it's more situational, but the damage overall It's pretty big. It's a pretty big change. It's pretty big.
Yeah. Okay. So that all taken care of. We're now finally moving on to Zerg, the third and final race in our big discussion. Swarm hosts. They're trying to bring
Yeah,
us back.
let's just skip the swarm hose because that's like redundancy upon redundancy upon.
I mean, they're
gosh.
reducing the cost and they're increasing the amount of locusts. That's all it is.
But they're increasing the swoop range on it actually.
Oh, the swoop. Oh, so when
Yeah.
they go,
So, yeah, they fly down.
okay.
Again, it's meh. Just put it in the recycling bin, please. Just get rid of this unit. I mean, you got lurkers. Can we just get rid of it? That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna even talk about this change because it's like it belongs in a recycling bin. It needs to be sent to hell where Satan will rape it with a sandpaper dildo. That's where it belongs. Yes, I totally went there because I was watching Gadsden Bridge. On a non-related note, but can we just go talk about Ravagers?
We can talk about Ravagers. You seem to be excited about Ravagers. Let's
Yes!
focus off on Ravagers.
Okay. Everybody knows how BS Ravagers were, that they were armored units, but they didn't have the armor classification. I don't call it armor flag because it kind of sounds stupid. Armor classification sounds a lot more strategic and a lot better. This change actually helps both Protoss and Terran. As we all know and seen, that Ravagers really fared well versus Stalkers. And we've seen a lot of interesting stuff. So now with the armor classification that the Ravagers have, Stalkers could actually go toe-to-toe with Ravagers.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a very big change. And not only that, but again, with the medevacs not being able to pick up siege tanks anymore, this was the biggest relationship that they wanted to change, was give it tanks where they can still counter Ravagers, even though they have corrosive bile. But this would ultimately help Protoss and Terran being able to counter these a lot easier.
That's absolutely true. That's what it comes down to. That's where it really hits home. Is
Let me ask you a question. Since you're Bioterran, what do you think of this relationship between the Ravager and the Marauder? I kind of want to pick your brain at that for a second. I just thought about this.
I mean, the Marauder is going to do a bit more damage to the Ravager now, especially when it has the armored flag, because Marauders do extra damage when it's armored. I mean, we're going to see the Ravager becoming more like the Stalker, in a sense, where the Marauder is supposed to counter the Stalker, supposed to counter the, Roaches, I thought, as well. I mean, and Ravagers at this point, but since the nerf did happen, they're not doing as much. Yes, Marauders are still beefy, and they still pack that punch, and so they still are able to do their job. But I think tanks are going to be doing a lot better. So, that's...
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much... that was going to be my next point, is that now tanks having that oodles of damage against armored units specifically, so it's now 40 base plus 30 versus armored, so 70 damage. Just that's a two-shot of a Ravager pretty much, and I believe that's a two-shot of a Ravager. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. We'll do math later. But the Hydra.
Yeah, I actually am excited for the Hydra to get changed, but I think they're going about it the wrong way.
Why do you think they're going about it the wrong way?
Well, here's what David Kim had in mind. He said, and I quote, "We have two changes in mind for the Hydra list, and both are aimed making the Hydra a core unit, kind of like the tank is, everything else that we see." And in the Zerg arsenal, and what they're doing is they're buffing the speed upgrade, so it works in the behavior in the same way Zerg's units are on creep as well as off. So what they're doing is they're going to enabling evolved muscular augments to buff the overall movement speed of Hydras instead of just their speed off creep. So they're doing it for both on and off.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one, though, actually I agree with one of these changes, but I don't agree with the second one, though. But they're experimenting with this one if they're gonna increase the range by 2, and I say 2 because their attack range is gonna go from 5 to 6, but they're gonna give the I'm trying to think. Okay, here it is. The evolved muscular augments will continue to give +1 range to the Hydra as well as a movement speed of 25%. Speed bonus, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving it from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, in other words. I think, honestly, I found the biggest flaw when I played against Rothschild Viper and Hearthstorm was that Blue Flame Hellions roasted Hydras really well. And I say this because I played a lot of Hydra players, and Blue Flame actually was so good, and especially in Hellion form, that you could just roast them so easy, especially with their armor upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Having an armor upgrade plus having a +1 or +2.
Yeah.
You could just steamroll with Blue Flame Hellions on Hydras so easy that I think because Hydras are light armor class, I think the best way to go about it is give it the +1 range. I'll agree with that. I honestly want to see, a core unit needs to have a decent range. Like, nothing too outlandish, but nothing too severely underpowered. This would give, that base unit that it needs. But what I think they should do is actually take the light armor off completely, make it like just straight up bio, no armor, no nothing, and buff its health to, I have no idea what the health of it is currently. Let me take a look on Team Liquid, and buff it from there. I mean, that'd be the best way to do that currently. Mm-hmm. Because I honestly think what the problem is just the Hydra having a light armor flag. It melts to Adepts, it melts to Oracles, Phoenixes, Banings. We can't really sit there and say about that. Mm-hmm. Blue Flame Hellions, anything that has like a light armor flag, it's pretty much going to insta-kill it. So, let's me look at the Hydra list.
Oh, what we definitely forgot to do for the Protoss?
What?
Is our overall approval. Yeah, I realized that halfway through. I'm like, shit.
Okay. It has 80 health. Okay. They could actually bump that to 90 or 95. That would be just right at the best they probably could do. Again, this is something that I'm not really, entirely too sure. This is something I kind of came up with my own. They could buff its health a little bit more if they need to, but giving it a plus.
That would make it a 3-shot kill for a siege tank.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you're wanting to keep. You want to. Well, I mean, yeah, 3-shot kill per siege tank. So you got 3 siege tank. That's instant 1 kill. Right. And that's not sitting there saying that. Again, this is hypothetical because we don't know what Terran is going to be having. We don't know what Zerg's going to be fielding. And so it's all, all theory crap. But again, giving the Hydra more boost in certain areas, you can buff its health a little bit, get rid of the light armor class. There's other ways you can work around it. I mean, I agree with the muscular augment change, giving it bonus speed on and off. But, I don't know, man. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so I definitely agree with the Hydras being, with their decision to increase the Hydra range, because it definitely needed a little bit more of a boost just to get it more into different compositions. Because with at a 5, it is outranged by a Marine, and that's actually a pretty big deal. So that said, with the speed upgrade as well, I think it's a little tricky. It's definitely doing what it needs to do because it just slithers around and starts poking at stuff, and in a lot of big numbers, definitely going to be useful. But
Okay.
I honestly like the change. I think it's definitely a good way to go about this, and yeah,
Yeah.
the range increase is pretty solid. The speed increase is solid. I don't agree with any health buff. It's a DPSer. It's the guy with the damage that just runs in, tries to kill, and gets out. He's an assassin, pretty much. I guess you could call him.
Yeah, and a funny thing is, actually, the Brood War Hydra, I was just curious about this. It actually is a base of 5, believe it or not. It's actually base 5. Even with the upgrade. It's a base 4 plus 1 with +1 with range. With Groove Spine's upgrade, it actually increases it to 5. Very interesting.
Okay, so we gonna move on? Because I think
Yeah,
just beta style.
I'll let you talk on that one because, again, you're more of the bioterror, so this is kind of be more of an affecting you versus me kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. Well, in fairness, all of this affects us both, but point being, yes,
Well,
the Baneling, the health buff, that in specific is really interesting just because it's going to take a little bit more firepower to kill these banelings. I mean, they're still going to act as normal. They're still going to do everything as they typically do. It's just they're going to be a little bit more difficult to kill with the Marine Marauder. So it's going to be tricky. It's going to take a little bit more microing, but it's definitely going to be able to be done.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, like.
Well, David Kim was saying that he wanted the Banelings to be able to get in on the armies, and that's exactly what we're going to be saying. So, go.
Yeah, I got no comment because, like I said, I can hear the sounds of the siege tanks just dropping their gears, and then it's like, oh look, some Banelings, one shot, like all of them go up in green smoke, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
So the Infestor...
So it's like...
Yeah, the Infestor is going to be the big one for the Zerg specifically. So we have about one big change per race, and at least, sorry, I guess I should say. So the Infestor, very interesting unit. It now has a collision radius well burrowed, so it's going to run into itself. It can't just... Yeah. But smaller than normal, so it's gonna be able to get around things, I guess.
Yeah.
It can cast abilities while burrowed. That's the big deal. That's the big, like,
yeah,
holy
that's...
shit.
Well, I think, and kind of reason why I was watching the Bill last night was because he made a point that with the new Raven coming out, they wanted to change because the Infestor was going to be a big deal, so they wanted Raven to be more of a go-to dedicated detector instead of having like mass scans available, which you can still have. But having all abilities cast while burrowed is going. I don't know if he means like with neural parasite because that'd be kind of weird.
I think that includes that. Yeah, all abilities. So the Infestor can just kind of sit underground the entire game. You don't ever need to get it out of the ground. So Burrow is going to be a necessary upgrade for all Zerg going into the future.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Well, I mean, the Infestor's pretty. I mean, like it needs to be used more, but
it is.
Well, I mean, it's used. I mean, heck, it's even used in all the pro games, and I mean, this is just adding, icing on the cake.
Yeah. So with that said, though, it can cast while burrowed, but it now has a new ability, and that's called Deep Tunneling, where it's 50 mana. It can be cast, and the Infestors burrow, and then can pop up anywhere that you have vision on the map. So a Zerg has a overlord in the enemy space, and they have this infestor or whatever, and they can just pop it in and have it burrowed, and then throw out all of the. It can take over workers. It can just start throwing down infested marines, but it's pretty much like the battlecruiser blink ability, but you have to have vision, just like the Nidus network.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one might get scrapped again. I don't know, but I actually think the Nidus one could use the deep tunnel ability. Like, give, because I know you can pop it up anywhere, but you can give it like the that upgrade where it can it gets like armor or something like that to make it stronger, because the invisible Nidus thing is kind of stupid.
What do you mean the invisible Nidus thing?
Well, invincible.
Oh, invincible. Yeah, okay. I thought you said invisible. I was like, what?
Yeah, that'd be too broke, man.
Yeah. Okay. So, the infestor, yeah, that was a big deal. It can now just jump wherever it wants, but I'm not sure on the cooldown of that ability. We'll see.
Yeah.
I played a little bit, but not enough to get acclimated to it by any means, or to appropriately scout it out, since I'm not a Zerg player, but that's my secondary race, I guess I should say.
Yeah, Protoss is my secondary, Zerg's my worst.
So, the final thing, the very, very final thing, is Broodlord. Range getting reduced from 11 to 10. So one unit, one space, I guess I should say, that it's getting reduced. I mean, what do you think about this?
Yeah, this is actually good, because it was kind of stupid watching my Thor trying to outrange Broodlords, and Broodlords just like, hey, here's more Broodlings in your face. So, this is going to help.
Yeah, it's going to help the other races. I definitely agree with that. But for Zerg, they already have an issue of Marines being, like, when they catch them off guard, then they absolutely do. And, I mean, getting on underneath those Broodlords is going to be a touch easier. Not crazy easy by any means, so it's still a very viable unit and it's going to be definitely interesting. But it's not as ranged, without a doubt. However, guys, that's it. That's the whole shebang. Those are the entire test, or the
changes. Yeah.
So,
But they could add more. I hope they add some adept changes too, because that's kind of like, the thing that's been making people rage a lot was having like 50 adepts in your base, and it's like, well, crap, I can't kill these things. I guess it's insta GG.
Yeah. So overall, Blackknight, I guess we should do the approve, disapprove of both the Protoss and the Zerg, since we kind of glazed over the Protoss a little bit. How do you feel about the Protoss changes overall, since we have a complete agreement that the Terran changes are good?
The Protoss, they could use some extra work. I mean, like, I would like to see some, like, I can honestly go for the Shadow Stride, as long as the Dark Stride is not chronable, because that would make it too early, that would break it way too early, especially if they allow it to be like I think somebody said 80 seconds or something like that, with constant chrono on it. So if they allow the Dark Stride not to be chrono, like, where chronos cannot be attached to it, then it'd be fine. Like, I'd be okay with it. But again, just if they allow
as it stands right now, you're happy with it?
I'm happy with it as long as they don't revert the bug, because that's basically what it is. But if they keep it if they deliberately made it that way, thank God, David Kim. I take back every bad thing I said, except for the Tempest. Like, you really need to, make Disruption Sphere a little bit short duration.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
So I give it a 8 out of 10. I mean, it's good changes, but they can obviously do better.
Okay, that's pretty fair. Again, for my grading, I guess I'm going to stick away from the number scale. But I think that the Tempest changes are really interesting. Yes, the Disruption Sphere is really, really iffy. I think that this is going to use need a lot of reworking going forward.
Yeah.
The Zealots, I think, is a really cool little step back, I guess, to Brood War, but forward, with the movement speed getting increased when Zealot speed, or Zealot charge, I should say, is upgraded. And, I mean, carriers are just kind of those auto GG, or not auto GG, but just they are there. That's pretty much it. But the DT Blink, that's a big thing. I think it's really cool and it's definitely useful, and we're going to see a lot of it without a doubt. So with all these changes in mind, I think that late game Protoss is going to be a little bit
weakened.
Weakened but stronger, because the idea was to bring the DTs more into the late game. But the Tempest, not as much so, except for those very, very, very long harassment games. It's fucking 30-minute games and pro.
Cough.
Anywho. So
I'm confident myself because I've done that a few times.
I know you
I've done a 45-minute Legacy of the Void record-breaking game on TVC on New Gettysburg, and it was the only time I massed Marines, and I won.
Marines, good unit. So
dude, without cop, dude, I kid you not, I had almost 15k minerals, no gas, and so the only thing I could make was Marines, Hellions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! It's I had this handful of battle cruisers, no gas, no nothing, and this guy was massing out cyclones.
Yeah, that'll do it. But so overall, I think the Protoss changes are gonna need a bit more reworking, but overall, I think it was pretty decent. It didn't. It kind of helps them, and that's the idea. But it doesn't help them as much as it could, or doesn't kill them as much as it could either.
Well, here's the thing, though. I was actually thinking about this just a minute ago. You could actually Shadow Strike wouldn't be that bad, because if a Terran makes a planetary and that DTs are harassing that area, you could just zone out where they can, because you put a supply depot between the refinery and some of the other areas and make a a turret behind the mineral lines, just where where they could go. They'd actually have to take the long way, and if you scan just right when they get there, you kill them pretty much, straight up.
Oh, just kind of SimCity forced them to go straight into planetaries?
Yeah.
That's one way to do it, but that's going to be up to a lot of players' discretion.
That's gonna be, as you said, player discretion. Do whatever you want to do, and that's fine.
All right. That said, let's start wrapping this up. Let's get the Zerg overall impressions. Blackknight, how do you feel?
I'd say I'll give it about the same as I did with the Terran. It's a 9 out of 10. I mean, there are a lot of good changes. Although I am starting to kind of wonder, what's the overall changes. I mean, how big of an impact it's going to have on the Zerg players, especially with these new stronger tanks. I wonder what their whole entire idea is. If it starts to becoming too much of a problem, what their biggest what they're going to do after that, if they see this going to become a big problem, especially with the Ravager flag, armor flag. So again, it's a 9 out of 10. I give them that. I mean, it's some good changes.
Okay.
Very interesting ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely agree with that bit. Definitely interesting changes. I like the fact that the Ravager now has the armor tag, so it's now going to be, taking more damage from the siege tanks. However, they're also going to be taking a little bit more damage from the Marauders, and that's going to be the big combat unit, because right now Ravagers can just kind of roll over Marauders. It's a little bit unfortunate. But That said, the Hydra range increased just by 1, and the speed increase, which I thoroughly enjoy. I think it's definitely going to bring the Hydras into that mid-game, into that core strategy that David Kim and the dev group really wanted going. The Banelings, I think it's going to do what they want it to do, but I think it's going to be... we're going to hear a lot of whining about that, maybe. And then we'll also hear the counter whine of get good.
Here. Let's actually stop. Let's hold the phone on that. Okay, first off, like, it shouldn't be that big of a whine fest. I mean, I don't understand why people think massively spamming Marines and hitting stem is like considered skill, because Banelings, you have to split Marines. But again, why not just rely on the bread and butter of the siege tank to just take care of it instead of just counter whine? Why whine whenever Terran's got stronger tanks that can instant one-shot these things? And, then Bob's your uncle.
They can't one-shot these things unless they're sieged.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The siege tanks in siege mode will one-shot them. That's why I don't get why people...
the point of the siege tank getting the damage buff as is. But the idea is the Banelings, if you have those getting in on armies with the speed or the friggin' centrifugal hooks, so they're going to be rolling pretty quickly. It's more for flanks and for Ling Bling Muta compositions to allow the Banelings to be a little bit less sniped going forward, and it allows the Banelings to get more into that bio army, to get more into attacking. And I understand, yes, you can rely on other units. I get that. However, they are speaking specifically about the Ling Bling Muta composition.
Yeah.
So.
Hold on 1 second. Baneling ain't that big. Like, it's not the damage they got buffed. So.
Yeah, it's not that big of an increase. I think it's going to, but I mean, Terrans are going to whine no matter what. Especially with the bio. Bio's going to be a big whiner force going forward.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, I honestly, I think, I mean, hell, dude. Like, I may not like bio. I may be sick and tired of watching it, but I kind of feel like 6 years of playing nothing, of watching nothing but Marine Marauder medevac. This kind of has to, I hope they would stop doing this, because this is the proposed changes for Terrans was to get more diversity. And if people continue to do Marine Marauder medevac, it's like, why continue to play this, Bioforce? You got diversity now instead of just, look, let's just make more Marine Marauder medevac, Liberator, Bio, whatever you want to throw in there. If they want to continue to whine, so be it. But you got other units to compensate. You can't just make mass barracks anymore.
But you've been able to say that the whole time with Ghosts. You've been able to, in Ultras, you've been able to say that. With just all these different units, and I understand that it's just that's what we're going to see no matter what. That's all I was saying. But I do want to finish this out. So the Infestor, that's definitely going to be very interesting. The Broodlord, it's not that big of an impact. However, overall, Zerg, I think they're really changing up how they want it to be changed up. And so I think it's going to achieve exactly what the dev team wants. Stormhost, maybe not, but we'll see. I think it's pretty okay. I definitely think that's a better update than the one for the Protoss, but not as good for Terran. So Terran probably got the best out of this, then Zerg, then Protoss.
Yeah, I think Terran got the best out of this, and I'm glad for it.
Right. Well, I mean, Terran needed a reworking because there's been too much division with Bio and Mech, and that's with the whole big thing is there's like this extra fifth race, and that's Mech. Or that's Bio, like one or the other, but Terran was always split down too, and that's what they're trying to take away a little bit. But we'll see going forward, and I mean, those are the notes. Those are the notes. Those are our thoughts, and we definitely highly suggest you guys going out and playing these maps. playing the test changes and really figuring it out for yourself, because I think this is going to be really interesting and a lot of fun going forward.
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting thing that somebody pointed out on I was actually on the forums, and it said that what they should do as for the disruption sphere, they actually should make it more like the Corsair's web ability. If y'all don't know that, the Corsair was a unit in Brood War. I'm going to keep referring to Brood War type units. But what it did was it shut down certain abilities and actually certain units. It shut down like defensive static defense stuff. Where is it? Units and buildings, Protoss, Corsair. Here it is. Okay, what this ability did was it covers a 120 by 80 pixel area for the duration, and for 24 seconds, preventing all units and buildings under it from attacking. So basically, it'd be a blinding cloud, blinding cloud. If they could make it like that, the disruption sphere, I'd be all for it. But if they're giving this AOE ability, it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The disruption sphere is going to be really interesting and really going to have to use a lot of reworking.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, other than that, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so bottom line is good time, play the game. I think it's definitely going to be a lot of fun going forward. Plus matchmaking for the test map. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I mean, I believe it goes off of the normal... Actually, no, it goes off of whomever makes the maps, so you can make a host, or you can become your host, and then you can kick people out if they're too high level. So if you're going up against diamonds or masters...
or going against Jan Air's... oh, crap, what was his name? Was it Green Air? Or it was
talking about Maru?
Yes, I'm talking about Maru because I'm actually about to play Maru.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
Yeah, and we've had a actually friend of ours who has gone up against Bly.
It was Jen Air's Maru. I actually about played down. I saw that name. I said Jen Air, and it said Maru. I'm like, nope, back out. Mm-hmm. Here's the tweet actually I had whenever I found this out. Where are you at? In my Twitter little feed. Yeah, here it is right here. So, yeah, here it is right here. Bam. There's the thing right there for you.
You have to play custom. That's a given at this point. Yeah. It's not in matchmaking for multiplayer quite yet, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you are gonna have to create your own lobby and kick out from there. You cannot do the normal queue for your matchmaking.
Yeah.
But that said, thank you for hanging out. This has been one heck of a stream. I'm Arthesius. Yeah. You know me. But this guy, Blackknight, always good to have him around. He's one of my co-casts with the ESL. We do a lot of stuff together. But go follow his stuff. I'm
in the process of trying to find a house, so I may not be I might stream on and off, just like as long as my data provides it. But I'm trying to find a house where I can actually get constant and good internet, where I can stream, on a daily basis. So.
Yeah, that's pretty fair then. So those are our overall impressions of the entire thing. Thank you for hanging out. Until next time, have a good day.
Yeah. Just want to point this out. If we do get some additional information, I'm actually going to be back in about 2 weeks. So if we get any information, we will collaborate together on when we can bring you guys more information. You can also check our Twitter handles. We might be, we could probably put out some ideas of when we might be doing some other casts. We might be doing some ESL stuff, depending on who's available and when I get back. But again, whenever we get some more information about these bounce test maps, whatever additional information we may get, we will let you guys know as soon as possible. So.
Yep. Okay. So everyone, have a good night.
Yep. Take it easy.